Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Dev Marketer channel. I'm your host, J.A. Curtis, and it's good to be back and talking with you guys. And we're going to be working on our Advanced CMS, and what we're doing today is finally coding. I know, that's what everyone's been asking for, and I'm listening to you guys and trying to get there. So, I understand and know that it's been a long time. This series has just been dragging on and on and on, and that was never my intention to drag this on like it has been. But it just came at a time in my life where it's just been hard to find the time to do it. It's just been very, very difficult. And I'm not going to get into very many details right now. I will be making a video just so for those of you guys that are curious, because I'm getting lots of emails asking about it. I'm going to make a video addressing all that stuff and talking about it in more detail and talking about the burnout that I've been experiencing. So if you're interested in that, you can watch that video, but I won't waste any time in this video addressing it. What you need to know is that I really, really do want to get this up and going, and my intention is to get it moving as quickly as possible. Now, like I said, things happen sometimes, and I'm not able to fulfill on my intention, but my intention always has been to get this going, and I can't believe we're halfway through the year, and I really haven't even got to the code of it. I'm as shocked as anybody that that's the way it turned out. So I'm actually skipping over all the design stuff and all the organization stuff and jumping straight into the code. I'm going to do some of that organization and planning off screen, but I don't want to postpone it anymore, focusing on those elements, and I want to just get to the code. And I know that's what everyone else is interested in as well. I might do some videos some point in the future where we go over that process of configuring your application, organizing it and designing it and stuff like that. But when that happens, or if that happens, I decided that this is too big of a project to do all that stuff on. For demonstration purposes, it's better to tackle all that on a smaller project so you guys can see how it works, but without necessarily such a massive project. As I started getting to the organization and design of this and trying to do that on screen, it just became overwhelming. This is a really big project. So I'm going to bring you guys along for the ride on the code, but I think the other stuff, skipping over that, I think is going to be fine. Now, I have already pre-recorded a bunch of the wireframes and stuff like that. Those are actually been recorded like a month ago, and they never made it onto YouTube. So I will go ahead and just post those videos as they are right now. Just know I made them a month ago, so they're going to be a compilation of a bunch of wireframes. I did them a while ago. If you guys want to watch them, you'll see them pop up in the next day or so. So they'll be online, and if you're interested, you can watch them. If not, you can just keep watching the code, and then the next video to come out in this series will be the code as well. So you'll see the wireframe pop up. It's out of place, and I'm just throwing it on there in case you guys want to watch it. Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's actually get into developing the application. So this, again, is going to be the Dev Marketer website. This is the Dev Marketer website that I'm going to be using to publish written tutorials and to better communicate with you guys, give you guys a outlet in the forums to share links and do all sorts of stuff like that. So I'm really excited to build this, and it's something I'm actually extremely excited about, but I've just been caught up with so many other things. But I really want to get to the code, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, this video you're in right now, we're just going to work on configuring the application and getting it set up. I'm actually going to not be using Bootstrap. I'm going to pull Bootstrap out of the application. I'm going to be using another framework called Bulma. We're going to pull that in. I'm going to bring in some Vue components, and we're going to configure all that stuff in the application today. We're going to set up Git, and we're going to set up some configuration settings, link our application or our database to the application, and basically do all those necessary things before you can actually start developing your controllers and models and all that kind of stuff. So the focus of today's video is to just get up that necessary config. All right, so let's do it right here in the terminal. We're going to start off by actually running Laravel new, using the Laravel installer to set up a project, and then we're going to go from there. So we're inside of my sites folder right now, which is where I want to store it. So we'll just run our basic Laravel new command. I'm going to call this Dev Marketer because that's the website that we're building, and we're going to go ahead and start crafting that application. This takes a while. You guys are familiar with this process. Oh, never mind. It was fast. Okay, so it's done. So we now have our application. It is set up. Let's go ahead and cd into the folder. So we'll do cd dev marketer. You can see we have our basic setup here. And then the first thing that I'm going to do is we're actually going to initialize this as a Git repository. So we got ahead and initialize that. And then I'm going to go ahead and set it up on GitHub so I can use that for version control. So let's go here real quick, set up GitHub. I'm going to do a new repository. And I've been hesitating about this, guys, so I just want to address this real quick. I've been hesitating whether I should make this public or not. I know everyone wants to follow along and see the code that I write, and you want to see on the website that, you want to see, okay, that's cool how he did that. How does he actually, what's the code that makes it happen? And so I'm inclined to make this public, and I'm going to go ahead and make it public, but I've been hesitating on whether I should. This is my personal website that I'm going to be using for displaying all this information, and I need it to be secure and private, and it can be secure and private and still open source. It's not like there's a conflict there, but I also don't want to see this popping up for sale, like people selling it as a theme and stuff like that. And I know that that's some of the stuff that I've heard from other YouTubers who have done these types of things, and so I've hesitated back and forth on whether I should keep this public. So I'm going to go ahead and make it public right now, and just know that if I start seeing shenanigans go down with this and this being used for inappropriate use, I'm going to go ahead and make it private, and I will also deal with those situations as they come. So I'm going to make it public. I want you guys to use it as a learning purpose, but don't use this for resale or for anything like that, okay? This is strictly for learning purposes. I want you guys to be able to see the source code for learning and to expand your knowledge of Laravel and of development in general, okay? So we're keeping it public right now. Now, if you come to this tutorial sometime in the future and it's private, it's no longer available, then you know what happened. Something went down, I had to make it private. But I'm hoping that it can stay public. Okay, so when I went ahead and made this project, you notice I did not automatically initialize the repository. That's a terrible idea. I really hate doing that, and I wish they would just take the option away. But a lot of people think they need to do that, and so they'll click that checkbox. Notice I didn't check it, and we just get this. Okay, so the way I like to do it, I already initialized the repository in here. That's what we did up here. So we're just going to use, we're going to set the remote with this line. You can see it goes to our devmarketer/devmarketer, and then we're going to go ahead and just git push. I've got to add some stuff. So we're going to do git add, git commit. We'll do an initial commit, Laravel install. So I went ahead and committed everything. Now we're going to do a git push. We're going to set the default as origin master. So going forward, I can just do git push. I don't need to notify origin master on there. Okay, so now we should have a basic commit. We can refresh. You got it all here. Everything is initial commit. So we're good to go there. So now let's go through and configure our application. I'm going to pull this open in Atom, and we're going to set up some configuration here. Okay. Oops. Oh, that didn't work out. Let's do that again. I'm not sure why these are open. That was kind of weird. Okay, so let's see. So the first thing we want to do is I want to take a look at our package.json. The reason I want to do this is you notice I haven't done an npm install yet. And the reason I haven't done that is because what I mentioned earlier, I don't want to be using Bootstrap. And if you look inside of your package.json, you can see Bootstrap gets pulled in. And so I don't want to have all this overhead. I just don't want Bootstrap. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Bootstrap. All the rest of this stuff I do plan on using, with one exception. I am going to be using Axios a lot. We use cross-env obviously to check the env file. We're going to use Laravel Mix a lot. We'll be using Lodash a lot, and we'll be using Vue a lot as well. I'm questioning whether I'll be using Jquery at all. I'm going to go ahead and pull it in right now. We're going to have it installed so that I can fall back on it if needed. But between using Vue and some vanilla JavaScript Vue and Axios, I'm not sure I'm actually going to need jQuery at all. I generally have used jQuery in the past for like Ajax, and so then because of Ajax, I already had jQuery pulled in because I wanted to use jQuery for Ajax requests, and so then I would just use the jQuery selectors. Since I already had jQuery anyway, I would just use jQuery selectors because they're convenient. And I would do a few little jQuery classes like getChild and stuff like that. So I'm going to actually try to avoid jQuery so that what will happen is before I push this live, I'll probably come through and kill jQuery and get rid of jQuery as well. But for right now, we're going to start with it so that I can use it if I need to. But I'm going to try to avoid jQuery and just use vanilla JavaScript and Vue.js and Axios instead of jQuery, because jQuery is a very heavy framework, very bloated. So if I can avoid it, I kind of want to. But we'll see how it goes for right now. I know I'm going to use all these other ones. We're going to go ahead and install jQuery now, and we might get rid of it in the future. So I went ahead and got all that set up. Let's go ahead and run an npm install now. So now this will install everything other than Bootstrap, basically, okay? And then once we get this installed, I actually do want to install a few other little projects. This is going to take a while, so while this runs, let's go over to Chrome here. And I want to show you guys, I want to be using a framework called Bulma.io. I really like this because it's all based on Flexbox. It's a very modern and up-to-date framework, much more than Bootstrap is. And we could be using Bootstrap 4, which does use Flexbox as well. It's all based on Flexbox, but it's still, Bootstrap 4 is super, super heavy. It's just super bloated. It's a bunch of stuff we don't need, and it just adds a lot of overhead that I don't really want to deal with. And I really like Bulma anyway. So Bulma is also very small. It's like 19K. I'm trying to see if it says it here. I don't know if it says it here, but it's like 19K. It's relatively small. For the amount of CSS it provides you, it's very, very small and efficient. So I really, really like Bulma. So we're going to actually pull in Bulma using npm here. I can see that it's finishing up here, so it's almost done. And then we're going to use Bulma as our framework. So this is going to replace Bootstrap. Okay, so yep, it's gone ahead and it's finished up. So let's go ahead and install Bulma and get that installed. And if you guys want to check this out, it's bulma.io. I'm going to show you guys how to use it, but I really like, their grid as just a starting point, I really, really like. You basically have these columns containers, you add column, and it creates even spaced columns. So if you just want like 2-column grid, basically like in Bootstrap, what you do like a 6 and a 6, here you just do column, and it just automatically spaces them out evenly. And then there's some modifiers we can do if you want like it to take up 2/3 or 3/4 or a quarter or whatever. If you want to do that different kind of stuff, there's some modifiers. But most of your columns are even width, and so this is all it is. It's super clean, easy to read. You can see there's some modifiers here. So it's all based on Flexbox, which I just love. So Bulma is really, really good. And it's got a few other great components in here, great looking tabs and stuff like that. Now, the thing that Bulma doesn't have is Bulma doesn't include any sort of JavaScript function. So if you're used to Bootstrap, Bootstrap comes with both its CSS and then the JavaScript. And the JavaScript's based on jQuery. And so with Bulma, we can actually avoid jQuery because it's not required for the framework, which is great. Unless we end up using it manually in some of our other stuff, which is what I don't think we'll have to do. So that's one of the benefits of Bulma right from the get-go. But Bulma only provides the CSS. There's no JavaScript component for Bulma. So you can see here that, let's go to like tabs. Is that in here? Components maybe? Like here we go. You can see there's some tabs provided in Bulma. However, these don't actually work out of the box. Like this is what it would work like. There's a CSS that makes the tab looks, gives the tab the looks they have, and then, provides the hover states, but there's no actual functionality to switch these. So there's no actual like JavaScript back there to do that. So you generally have to either roll your own, which I've done in the past, or there's actually a great framework with Vue and Bulma put together that creates components. So these are Vue components. It creates Vue components for things like tabs. So it gives it the JavaScript functionality using Vue and Vue components. So it's going to fit into our workflow really, really nicely. And that's what I also want to bring in. So that is called, it's like Buefy or something. I can't remember how you spell it. Buefy? Bulma Vue components. Okay, so this is the one I want, is Buefy. So this first one, Vue-Bulma, it does basically the same thing. It's a bunch of Vue components for Bulma. I don't like it as much, even though it ranks higher in Google. I don't like this one very much. The one I really like is Buefy, this one right here. So, or Buefy. I don't know what the heck it is. But anyway, whatever it is, I like this one. So this is the one we want to install. So let's do npm install Buefy, whatever it is. The good news, you don't have to really worry about what it's called. It's going to provide the Bulma components. And that's basically all we need. Now you can see here, if we do getting started, you can just pull it in with npm, and then you can just do view.use Buefy after you import it, obviously. And then that'll bring in all the components. And you can see all the components up here. So like, for example, general tabs now, you're going to see now that we actually have the ability to actually use those tabs. So we don't just have the CSS, it provides the JavaScript for it, and it provides that JavaScript in the form of a component for Vue. So that's really cool. Since we're going to be using Vue a lot, we can use the components. It's going to be really cool. And it also creates a basic API. Like here, we can programmatically set a certain tab and stuff, which will be really, really nice to have. Okay, so that's everything we need for that. So that should be pulled in. It is successfully installed. And now let's go through and let's set it up. Oh, while we're installing npm stuff, let's go ahead and install npm font awesome as well. Just so I don't have to bring that in through the CDN, I'll have that stored locally. And that should be everything I need for npm right now. So let's let that run. Shouldn't take very long. There it goes. Okay, so now we have everything inside of our node modules. Let's go ahead and configure these before we actually run our initial Laravel mix command. Let's go through and set this up. So inside of resources assets, we'll start with JavaScript and open up this app.js folder. And inside of here is what we want to configure to set up our new Vue components and also get rid of the Bootstrap JavaScript that's set up in here. Okay, so now right here you're going to see require /bootstrap. This initially you'll think is the Bootstrap like framework, but it's not. This is actually telling it to pull in this bootstrap.js file, which we still do want. So don't kill this when you're getting rid of Bootstrap. Let's just finish this page and then we'll go look at that Bootstrap file. So we do want window.view. We want access to Vue, so that's great. Let's keep that. You can see right here, this shows an example of a Vue component. And this is great, but we actually don't need that. We might set up some components later. So we can go ahead and, I guess, comment it out. Because we probably will set up some custom components down the road. But we don't need this example one. And then we're also not going to be using a system-wide, like an app-wide view setup like this is providing. We're going to set this up on each page. So we don't need one like this. So I'm going to go ahead and kill that. We don't need that. I don't need the comments. And I can get rid of all that. Okay, so let's go ahead. That's basically all we need. Let's take a look at this Bootstrap file. Inside of here, you can see that we pull in Lodash. We tie it to the underscore, which is great. And then, so we can keep that. You can see here, this is where we pull in Jquery. That's great. We'll keep that for now. We might get rid of it in the future. We also pull in Bootstrap Sass. This is the actual JavaScript for Bootstrap Framework, which is what we don't want. So we can kill that. Let's don't need that. We're going to be using Axios a lot, so let's pull that in. We'll tie it to Axios. That's great. For Axios, we'll set default headers. This is going to tie our CSRF tokens to the headers of Axios, which is something we do want. So let's go ahead and keep that. That's going to allow us to send API requests to our own server using Axios without them getting denied for CSRF. So we do want that. This just does more CSRF stuff. This actually sets the token, ties it to that. So that's all fine and good. The bottom thing here it's commented out is for setting up echo and pusher. We probably will do this. We will do this at some point in this tutorial. I'll set these up, but for right now, I don't need to worry about them. So I'll leave them commented out. That's all we need there. So now the app.javascript, oh, it's not set up. We got to pull in the Vue components. So if we go back over here, let's go to installation, quick start. You can see here that we have to import Buefy, and then we're going to tell it to use Buefy. So let's go ahead and set that up. Make sure you do it after you pull Vue in, and then we're going to do view.use Buefy. Buefy, whatever the heck it is. I don't know how you say it. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, we don't need to worry about the CSS because we're going to pull that in our CSS file. Okay, that's all. Now, if you weren't using all the components for Buefy, you could actually pull them in individually using this type of syntax. but this will use all of them. This is going to pull all of them in to use. Okay, that's all we need for JavaScript. Let's go take a look at our Sass real quick. We are going to customize these variables, but I'm not going to mess with it right now. And then up here at the top, you can see we're importing our Railway font. We don't need this right now. Let's go ahead and comment that out. Where we do need the variables, and this pulls in the Bootstrap framework. We don't need that. We need Bulma. So let's go ahead and pull Bulma in instead. You can find Bulma at nodemodules/Bulma/Bulma. And of course, by just navigating this node modules folder, you can find all that. So Bulma, Bulma. So we do /node modules/Bulma/Bulma, and then that's automatically going to pull it all in. Okay, so that's good. So let's write Bulma here. Let's also pull in our font awesome. So we'll import. I don't really know what font. I don't know off the top of my head. We have to find it. So it's font-awesome/SCSS. So font-awesome/SCSS/font-awesome. What we're trying to pull in is this file here, and then this will automatically deal with all the rest of them. Okay, so that should be good. What else? We're missing something. Oh, we're missing our Buefy. So let's go ahead and, well, after we do Bulma, we will insert Bulma view modules. There's a little bit of CSS needed for that. This will be available in, let's see, Buefy. Where it is, right here. Okay, so we're going to import node modules /Buefy or whatever /CSS, SCSS, I mean, and then Buefy. Okay, like that. Should be good. If I spelled that right every time, I think so. We'll find out here in a moment when we run it. That should be everything. Let's see, we got font awesome. We can make a comment for that if we wanted. Bulma view modules. That should be good. We might get some error. Well, no, we shouldn't get any errors. I think we'll be okay. Let's try it. Okay, so now that that's all set up, before we do our final go over and set up our databases, we want to run this config. So let's make sure it works. So inside of here, I'm going to run npm run dev. This is going to run it one time, Laravel mix, and that should run our JavaScript and our CSS and pull everything in. So we got an error. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so it looks like we messed up here on this Buefy thing. Let's just make sure we get. Okay, there we go. That's where I messed up. It's the source folder. Okay, so now it went through successfully. As you can see up here, Laravel mix build successful. So that was our problem. Okay, so yeah, that should be everything. So now we have our CSS. Inside of our public folder, we have CSS now. We also have JavaScript. So we are good to go as far as that's concerned. Now, the last thing I want to do in this video is just get up our configuration setup and basically set up the database and stuff like that. So let's go into our config. We're going to config app.php. You can see here we've got our app name. I'm going to go ahead and call this dev marketer. And we can actually don't even need to pull from my env. Well, in fact, it's actually good to go through the env file first. So we'll do dev marketer as the app name, set it up on local. We already have an app key. That's great. Set debug to true just for development. It's all good. This is all good. Now we need to set up our database. We're not going to worry about broadcast right now, or cache, or session, or queue. We will get to all that eventually, but Redis we don't need to worry about right now. For mail, I will go ahead and set up mail trap real fast, and then pusher we can ignore. So let's go ahead and do all those components. Okay, so let's set up this database. Now this is all correct for me. I'm going to be using MySQL. I'm going to be using this local address. 3306 is fine. So the database name here, I'm just going to go ahead and call it dev marketer. I haven't actually set it up yet, so we got to do that here in a moment. And then for my system, it's just username is root and the password is empty. So that should be all I need. We need to just create this database real quick. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and open up SQL Pro, connect to local database. Let's go ahead and add a database. I want it to be UTF-8, and then we're going to call it dev marketer to match what I told it would be called. Dev marketer, add. That should create the database, and that's all we need to do. So disconnected. So now our database should be set up. Now let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and set up my Mailtrap settings. Okay, so I went ahead and set up Mailtrap settings. I did that off screen just because I don't need those credentials out there right now. And let's see. So let's go down here. We're going to go, we've got our app name set up. Debug is going to be set up. The URL for right now is good. It's localhost is fine. UTC, I'm just going to go ahead and set this real quick as well. So I always just search this. You need to put in your time zones for the PHP default time zones. So for me, I'm using Denver. So America Denver is what I need. So let's go ahead and just paste that in here. Then you set your language. For me, it's English. Fallback is English. Key is going to be already set inside of our env file. We don't need to worry about that. The log will set inside of there as well. And then providers and aliases are good for right now. We don't need to mess with those. Okay? So that sets up all that. We are going to set up authentication in another video. Broadcasting, we don't need to worry about. Cache, don't need to worry about. Database, we should have all that configured in the env file. File systems, we will do in a future video. Mail, I've already got configured through. For right now, we're going to set up a better provider in the future. But for development, I'm already set up for Mailtrap. The queue we'll set up in the future. Services we don't need right now. Session we'll set up in the future. And then view we don't need to worry about. So that is everything. So with all that done, let's go ahead and we're going to save this and we're going to close out this video. What this gives you here is this is our basic setup for a Laravel installation. So we did a basic new Laravel installation. I pulled Bulma in, got rid of Bootstrap, configured some stuff there. We have Font Awesome pulled in. We got all that set up. Our CSS and JavaScript's ready to go. So we're now ready to actually start building the application. So we got to get some of this out of the way before we can build. And I wanted to show you guys basically that setup process. So we'll start building in the next episode. Before I close out this video, I am gonna let's go ahead and just close, let's kill this real quick. And then let's just submit it to GitHub. So if you go git status, you can see all the stuff we added. So this now will pull in our app.css and app.js, and that's the important thing that we wanted to get from that. And it also pulled in our fonts, which is great. So let's go ahead and just do git add and then git commit. Don't worry about these messages, this CRLF. If you're on Mac, it happens all the time. It's just saying, it's just the way with the automated, with the way Laravel Mix sets it up. Sometimes you get that. So git commit, we're going to say configured JS and CSS for our app and set up database. Config settings. There we go. Git push. Perfect. Okay, so you can see that we now have our new setting set up. So that's all for this video. We're actually going to start putting some logic together in the next video.